All right, well, you want to make sure to have some pepper in it or add some pepper. That's what helps the absorption of the turmeric.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought I'd try that today or
Good.
sometime.
So,
Okay.
all right. So we're
Thank you.
onward to another meeting together. Welcome to everybody. And this is an open forum kind of session after we had a fasting session last week. And Kevin should be logging on here pretty soon in case you have some questions to ask him about fasting. And if you have questions to ask Scott or myself about it, we're around here too. Is there anybody new? And Monica, how did you find out about the classes? We're just kind of curious. And
well, a friend of mine told me about it, and she gave me, I took a picture of she had the card with the lifestyle or life medicine. And I checked out the website, and I looked at some of them, the recordings of some of them, but I haven't actually attended one before. Yeah. So.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. And
thanks.
Anybody else who happens to be new, or you don't have to be new to actually speak up and ask a question or, anything on your mind? Any thoughts from anyone?
Hi, I'm new joining. My doctor sent me a link to your Zoom calls, and I'm interested in learning about the plant-based diet.
Well, welcome.
My name's... Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Oh, my name is Brittany. I'm 33. I have 2 kids. And yeah, we're just, we mostly eat plant-based food already, but learning some new recipes would definitely help a lot.
So, Brittany, let's see. Tona has a hand up. I'm trying to see. There you are, Brittany. Okay. Well, welcome. We love to have people like yourself. And let's see, we have Tona who has her hand up. And so we're going to go to Tona next, and then we'll make a general statement about what the new people can do to get the best out of coming to these classes and what help we have for you through either one-on-one medical students. And there's no charge for any of these classes, by the way, or for any information that we hand out. So go ahead, Tona.
Thank you. So I've been coming to the classes for a little bit. I have shared a little bit of my story. I am, we'll say, a cancer survivor. I just had my second round. It was in remission for a little bit more than a year. Cancer came back in June. I was doing chemotherapy and then reached a level of a toxicity level of chemo. And so about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago now, is when I had my final chemo treatment. And I also made the decision to move fully onto the plant-based diet. I've been following you all and checking, I don't know, learning and adjusting my diet. And then I found the Beat Cancer Kitchen cookbook. And that has literally been my Bible for the last 5-6 weeks. I'm only eating food from that cookbook. So with having finished chemo, my CA-125 numbers were at, I think my last one was 42 point something. And then I've only been doing the plant-based diet. The plan is to not return to chemo, hopefully. And that's my goal, and to just control it by diet. And then I went and saw my doctor last week, but it was a different provider that was covering for her, who didn't really know the plan and was like, well, the plant-based diet's good, and was trying to talk, I felt like was trying to talk me back into getting on chemo, which was not helpful. And then my CA-125 numbers are up a little bit. They're at 45.5 now, so not a lot. I was disappointed I didn't get to see my doctor because I felt like I needed some reassurance that I'm doing the right thing. And so I guess that's what I'm kind of looking for from you all. Is just reassurance that, like, yes, I've stopped chemo. Yes, I'm doing this plant-based diet, but my numbers aren't going to probably change super quickly, I would imagine. Particularly since, like, I feel like the first 2 to 3 weeks after I stopped chemo, I was still really struggling with side effects. And so really wasn't able to eat a whole lot. So I have really, like, really my appetite has been good for the last 2, maybe 3 weeks. And that's how much I've, like, really truly been eating. So I guess I need some affirmations that this is the right path. I'm doing the right thing. Like,
Okay, well, let's pursue this a little bit further. In order to decide if you're doing the right thing, you mentioned a cookbook. I'm not familiar with it, and so I'm kind of curious about the kind of recipes, what kind of things that you're actually eating. Are you sticking to foods that are whole foods, is grown in nature? Are you adding oils to them? Are you, what is it that you're actually eating on a day-by-day basis?
so he recommends, like, for to, like, actually fight cancer itself, to really try and stick to the raw foods as much as possible. And
Stick to
so
what was that?
the raw foods.
The raw
and
foods, okay.
yeah, so so in, like, the mornings I'm eating oatmeal loaded up with some kind of, like, dried fruits and some fresh fruits as well, berries. I'm adding hemp hearts and flaxseed and different nuts and whatnot. And then I'm usually making a smoothie. He's got various smoothies that have blueberries or spinach, different nuts in it, usually bananas, mangoes, turmeric, different things like that, mixtures of that. And then for lunch, it's usually a salad that has what are the greens? Arugula, spinach, kale, and then the leeks and onions, broccoli. Like, it's loaded up. His salads are just, like, all of the things you can possibly think of. And it's mentioned, it's a lot of the things that we've mentioned here in some of the videos that you've shown from with McGregor, and what foods would kill the cancer cells. And then in the evenings, I'm doing, it's been similar, but it's usually like a sheet pan bake, but of those same veggies. And I'm only baking them in the oven for about 20 minutes, is what his cookbook says, to be able to just, like, get them warm, but not to totally wilt them or cook them a whole lot. And then I'm also, like, it's just me that's only eating. And so I'm usually making a batch that's lasting me for a week, and then I'm reheating it throughout the week.
All right, well, that's sounding pretty healthy so far. Are you doing any chips?
No,
Are you doing any oils, free oils?
I'm doing oils. Yeah.
Why are you doing oils?
I'm doing, well, I've got there's flaxseed oil that I'm using, and then I'm also doing, oh my gosh, olive oil. And in the cookbook, it says it helps with the absorption of the greens and the veggies, and to put that on the salads.
Well, I wouldn't particularly be in agreement with that. We're gonna let Scott chime in here in a moment on that issue. I would stick with the whole foods as they're grown in nature. A few olives, a little bit of avocado. I'd be careful about not overdoing the nuts. I don't know how much you're doing. I heard that a couple times, but a quarter cup a day is
Okay.
what I'd probably do, not a full cup, because there's lots of fat calories in nuts,
Okay.
tons of fat calories in the olive oil with no fiber in any of the oils that you've mentioned. And let's see, what else can I think of?
I would just
Not
say as long as
eating-
she's not eating any animal products and no processed foods, those will be the biggest, two most important things.
Yeah, no animal products. I've cut those out entirely, and no processed foods. I'm making everything here at home.
So I love that you say you're eating leeks and garlic and onion. Garlic is one of the best anti-cancer fighting foods that you can eat, along with sulforaphane and the cruciferous vegetables, the kales, and sounds like, I don't know how much you're eating in the way of kale, collard greens, arugula. Are you eating a lot?
I'm
Few handfuls a day?
yes, I would say kale isn't my favorite, but if I put it in smoothies, I'm able to have that. And like the smoothies that I'm making are at least a handful, if not 2 or 3 handfuls of kale or spinach.
Okay.
And then I'm having salads, and then I'm also having that mixed in with the sheet pan bake.
For
that I'm doing.
salad dressing, what do you use?
Just the oils that I mentioned,
Could
and
you-
then seasoning.
Could you just switch that to a balsamic vinegar?
Yeah.
A flavored balsamic vinegar, and stop the oil and don't cook with oil and see what happens?
Yeah.
See how you
I can do that.
feel? And you know, I know this is a matter of who you trust, and you know, you're following a cookbook and supposedly they know what they're talking about, but I know that I don't know, it's my impression that the closer you are to just eating whole plant foods as they're grown in nature, whether it's fresh or frozen, is really the key to the best success. And if you weren't having a struggle with cancer right now or concerns about it, then I might say a little bit of oil is no big deal. But that's my best thought. How about you, Scott?
Like if you went looked at the published studies and case studies they have at True North Health Center down in Santa Rosa, California, they do, you know, water only fasting and then refeed a SOS free whole food plant-based diet. So no salt, oil, or sugar. And I think the reason is just trying to keep inflammation down as much as possible. And then there's also some really good studies, and probably Kevin can chime in, but there's really good studies on fasting to go with chemotherapy. So if you end up deciding to do more chemotherapy, fasting right before chemo has been shown to allow chemo to be even more effective, less side effects, less nausea, things like that. So there's some pretty good data on that. And then and I'm assuming and I assume you've watched our 2 classes on cancer from earlier this year.
Mhm.
Okay.
I did,
Recorded on
yeah,
the
that's-
website.
Yeah,
So
that's
you're-
part of what got me looking into it more. And you know, I found the cookbook at the cooking class at the that they were doing.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Adventist
so-
Church.
Yes, thank you.
It sounds
Great.
like you're doing well. You've got a really, you know, solid foundation here. A little tweak with the SOS free, salt, oil, sugar, free sugars.
Okay.
You're not eating free sugars or any processed chemicals like sweeteners or
No, the what I'm
creamers.
using is honey, organic maple syrup. Yeah, just those 2,
Okay.
and then dates in my case.
So after you've listened to what we had to say, are you a little more reassured?
I am. It's easy to get in your head, and it's easy to focus on the Western medicine because it's what we know.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit scary to step away from it. But I know it's the right thing, and I know it's what I want to do, and I believe in it. And I get super stuck in my head, and that makes it hard.
So is your doctor recommending that you do more chemotherapy right now?
I don't think so. My doctor wasn't actually there at the appointment. She got caught up in a surgery. So she had someone else covering. who didn't know the treatment plan, who didn't really understand what I was saying. And so I was like, I don't want to go back on chemo. And she was like, well, you know, you can still do the whole foods diet on chemo. And that was kind of what she was talking about. And I didn't feel like I was being heard. Whereas my doctor, when I talked to her 5 weeks ago, and we had made this plan, she was like, yes, do this. I've seen it work. I know it works, but it's also a whole lifestyle change. And like, you have to be prepared for that. And so we
And it
talked about,
sounds like you're prepared for it. You're doing it. Are you exercising every day, walking every day?
I'm not doing that just energy wise. I've been struggling, but I'm trying. I am trying to get to at least the Y and get to yoga most days. And that I feel like is at least getting my body moving. And then when I've got the energy, I'm trying to get out and walk.
Okay, so keep moving, move a little bit more, as much as you can, day by day. And also meditation might be helpful. Yoga classes are great, but mindful meditation might be helpful for you if you've not done any of that. Finding joy, listening to music, doing things that really bring you joy, focusing your attention on that is so important right now for you. And keep coming to classes. We'll try to keep boosting your spirits.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And then get an appointment with your doctor as soon as you can. You're
Yes,
the
I'm
one
trying.
who you trust.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mary Ellen.
Hey, I just want to say to Tonya, on the Lifestyle Medicine website under resources handouts, there's several pages of salad dressings that are really, really cool. Without oils and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great resource. Good luck.
I can show everybody where that's at if you need me to.
That'd be a good idea for you, for the new people who are here, to share the website so they can see where they can go and what they might find.
All right. See that? So there's this up here. You can see my screen, correct? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't getting any feedback there. Okay, so here's the livelifestylemedicine.com is the website. For those that are new, you can subscribe to the weekly class newsletter. And then if you're new to this website, scroll about halfway down the homepage here and watch this recorded website tutorial. It's about 20 minutes long, and I kind of give a tour of where everything is on the website. So I don't have to spend too much time right now. But since you mentioned the recipe or the salad dressing recipes, if you go to under resources, click on the resources tab. I think I have it under handouts from classes. And let's see, it's food label. Yeah, no oil salad dressings right here. There's like 34 in here, and I think there are 2 Asian dressings that do have oil, but the other 32 or whatever don't. But just those kind of slipped in there. But yeah, you can click on the PDF, and here's a bunch of salad dressings. All but 2 are oil free, so you can check those out. That's there. And yeah, definitely watch the website tutorial if you're new to the classes.
Now, the other thing I want to mention is you can get support by just, if you're feeling down or you're having trouble struggling, your weight is kind of not going down, or you're just need someone to talk to. We've got at least one medical student, Lisa Chick, and potentially another one that would be willing to spend time with you for no cost. And if they're not available, I'm happy and willing to talk with you also. So feel free to let us know if you need some additional help, whoever's in the class, especially for the new people who are just getting started, but it's also for anybody who needs help. Anybody else have a thought?
This is Monica, and I just had a question back on the oil, because I know that we need some fat, and and I've always heard olive oil is so healthy for you. And so, I mean, I understand that, okay, it's processed, but are we just getting, I know we need some fat, right, in our diet. So do we just get the fat from the nuts and like the avocado and that's enough? Or how much, do we know how much we need every day?
Sure. Yeah. So you're right about we get fat. There's no such thing as a no fat diet. Even 100% whole food plant-based diet without any oil or any processed food whatsoever usually still falls about 10 to 15% of calories are from fat, because even broccoli has fat, and all plants have fat in them. So it's not a problem. But yeah, if you're not trying to lose weight, if you're trying to just maintain weight, then it's good to get maybe a little bit more. You get it from avocados, nuts and seeds, kind of like we were talking about there. It's better to get the fat from the food rather than from a processed food. And so olive oil, when we talk about is a food healthy, it's always compared to what? Compared to something else. So is olive oil healthy? Well, not compared to whole plant foods, but olive oil is healthy compared to coconut oil or trans fats or shortening or bacon or sausage, or so it does have some. It is a better item to use than those other things I just mentioned, but you're better off just eating an olive to get the same nutrients in the fat than to use the olive oil, because you've stripped all the fiber out of it. Pretty much just about all the nutrients have been stripped out of it. So you're better off just getting the fat from the food. But yeah, so if you're eating a quarter cup of nuts a day, some flax seeds or some sunflower seeds or whatever on your salad, and then you're eating a little avocado, you're probably somewhere up around more closer to 20% of your calories are from fat, which is kind of the highest you kind of want to go. And especially if you're trying to lose weight, or if you have diabetes and you're trying to reverse insulin resistance, you really got to be careful of even the plant fats, because they can kind of contribute to insulin resistance a little bit too. So yeah, and then someone in the chat asked about, since we're on this topic, someone asked about EPA DHA, which is an omega-3 fat. And there is some controversy about whether we should take supplements for EPA DHA. So that's the long chain omega-3 fats. And kind of where the science is right now, it's kind of still up in the air whether that's beneficial or not, because one of the most recent studies I saw, they actually showed that you could take an EPA DHA supplement, but it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. So it doesn't even get into the brain, because basically the argument has been, oh, you need a little extra EPA DHA for brain health. And I know Dr. Furman's a real proponent of EPA DHA, and I think the camp has kind of gone both ways, but at least, I don't know, I haven't heard Dr. Furman talk about or address the most recent study that showed that it didn't even get into the brain. And so is it really doing anything? And so as long as you're getting plenty of omega-3s from sea vegetables and walnuts and flax seeds, chia seeds, things like that, that's the short chain omega-3. And then most people can elongate it into the long chain form. And then trying to cut down on omega-6 fatty acids, which is mostly the fats in processed foods and animal products, because omega-6 fats are more pro-inflammatory and they inhibit the elongation of the short chain to the long chain omega-3. So if you're eating a more ideal diet, you're going to be lower in omega-6, higher in omega-3. So most people will be able to elongate that long chain omega-3 just fine. But I know Dr. Furman's made a case for, like he says, a lot of his patients, he'll check their EPA DHA levels and their blood work, and they'll be low in people that are on plant-based diets. And so that's why he recommends the supplement. But as I just mentioned, there is some controversy with whether the supplement's really doing anything.
The other reason he may be recommending the supplement is he actually sells them.
Yeah, that's true.
And so one must be careful about a salesman who's promoting, why they're promoting, and, what are the motivations and those sorts of issues. Now, Monica, one other thing I want to mention, and that is the recommendations we hear. We are bombarded by nutrition advice, which is generally a compromise between the healthiest and the unhealthiest. It's sort of like the advice from most of the advisory committees comes from a battle between the industry arguing that they want to sell their product and the people saying this is the healthiest way to eat. And somewhere along the line, there's this compromise that says, well, we're going to get most people to do the Mediterranean diet as opposed to eating the totally whole food plant-based, which is likely, it's the only diet that's actually been shown to reverse heart disease, a whole food plant-based diet, where the Mediterranean diet with the olive oil has never been shown to reverse the clogging in the coronary arteries. So it's up to you to make a decision as to whether you follow what we're being bombarded with, or whether you say, I really am looking for the healthiest choices. And that's why I choose to eat what I'm eating. Just a thought.
There's another question in the chat about diverticulosis. Do you want to take that, or you want me to take it, Charlie?
You can go ahead and do it.
Sure. So diverticulosis is an outpocketing inside your colon. So think of it as like an aneurysm. It's kind of a little weak spot in the colon wall, and stool gets stuck in there, and sometimes they get infected, and that's called diverticulitis when it gets infected. Diverticulosis is just the presence of the little pocket, the little, kind of like an aneurysm. It's a little balloon that's sticking into the colon wall. And so what causes that is high bowel pressure. So anything that causes increased pressure in the colon, in the bowels, will cause things like diverticulosis and appendicitis and hemorrhoids and constipation and colon polyps and all the bad stuff that happens in the colon. Those are all related to high pressure in the bowel. So if you think about, it's a muscle, it's contracting the stool and the food, the digested food and the stool down the colon, it's contracting, it's a muscle, it's contracting. And so if it's having a hard time, it's having to contract really hard, high pressure to move the stool along, because most Americans aren't eating enough fiber. So it's caused by a low fiber diet. So if you're eating the standard American diet, which is usually about 15 grams of fiber is what the average American's getting these days. So if you're eating meat and dairy and eggs and oils and processed foods, which is the meat sweet diet, the standard American diet, that's low in fiber. So that's all the food's going to move through really slowly. It's going to cause high pressure. And so that's where all those bowel problems happen. And so diverticulosis, so if you switch to a whole food plant-based diet, now you're eating high fiber. Now the stool moves through nice and easy. It's low pressure. And so the diverticulosis, the little pockets won't ever go away. They'll stay there, but you won't tend to have any infections in them. They won't tend to get inflamed and infected when you switch to a plant-based diet. So yeah, if you want to prevent or treat diverticulosis to prevent from getting diverticulitis, which is usually have to take antibiotics, and it can sometimes cause really severe symptoms, and people have had such bad cases of diverticulitis, they've had to have part of their colon resected, and it's really, really bad. So if you want more information on that, you can go to the class archives, and we do have a class on gastrointestinal health there. There's also a book on the book list and under the books on the class website. Fiber Fueled is the name of the book by Dr. Will Bulsiewicz. He's a gastroenterologist, and he talks a lot about that in that book. So if you really want more information, there's some other great resources you can dive into.
Okay, Samsung, is that Marcia or someone else?
It's me.
Okay, Marcia.
I told you I went and bought some turmeric capsules tonight.
Yep.
The turmeric complex plus ginger, but they don't say anything about pepper being in it.
So what you want to do is just add a pinch of pepper to whatever food you're taking the turmeric with.
Okay.
Just a pinch
All
between
right.
your two thumb and index finger.
Bring your camera down, Charlie.
Oh, okay.
I want to see the top of your head there. Yeah.
But yeah, I went and bought some capsules. So
That's okay.
yeah, can those be broken open and put on my food, or just take them as they are?
You can break them open and put them on your food if you like.
Oh, okay. I will do that. So, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who else is up for the next question? We wound up with a fair number of people. I think there were over 40 or somewhere around there. It's pretty good for a night. Okay, Trouty. Just unmute yourself.
I have two questions. I have to take a lot of blood tests, and they tell me I can't take B vitamins, especially B complex, because it messes up. But without it, I tend to get very weak and tired, and I don't do well without it. And it's over the counter, the stuff that I take.
Yeah, it's likely because you're going to probably have a thyroid test drawn. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's usually if
Sometimes
people have.
I know about it and sometimes I don't. And
Yeah.
they just want me to take that off, but I can't take that off all the time. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
if it's
getting
for your thyroid, if it's for a thyroid blood test, you only have to stop taking the B vitamin for 3 days prior to the blood test, and then you can go back on it. If it's for a thyroid blood test, because
oh,
the
they
B
told me
vitamins
10
can
days.
mess up the test.
Yeah, this told me 10 days. And, you know, then was another test. I didn't know which one it was. And, you know, another 10 days. After a while, I get very, very sick, very weak. I need the B complex, you know. So anyway, that was one question. And the next one was, can diverticulosis be reversed by plant and fiber when you eat it afterwards, if you have it already?
Well, like I mentioned, you can't get rid of the diverticulosis. Those pockets will never go away, but you
Oh,
can prevent them from getting infected if you go on a plant-based diet.
okay. That answers. But yeah, it never goes away then. It doesn't shrink or anything, nothing. Uh-huh.
Not from what I understand. They'll still always be able to see them there, but likely you won't have any more symptoms or problems if you stick with the plant-based diet.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Well,
I now have confirmation we have 2 medical students who are willing to support. So we're doubling our fare. Anyone in the class? And let's see if there are any other questions from anybody before we continue on. I'm gonna kind of look and see.
Well, I could ask another question.
Okay, feel free,
just-
Monica.
I just wondered about sorry, energy and also being hungry all the time. If that's something that I've only been kind of doing this for maybe like 3 weeks, and I'm not as strict as I've had a little bit of sugar, a little bit of oil, but no eggs or cream. I don't eat meat anyway, but I've cut out my dairy. But I mean, I'm not more tired than I was, but that's kind of one of the main reasons I want to try it, because I just feel like I have low energy but then I find that I'm satisfied when I eat, but then I get so hungry, like, you know, really fast, like after an hour or two. And I just
Are you getting? Yeah,
pardon me?
Are you getting enough starchy vegetables? So potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, corn, squash, intact whole grains. So you really want to, like, half of your plate should be full of starchy vegetables, and then the other half with non-starchy vegetables, and then fruit for dessert, for example. It's really important to get enough of the starchy vegetables that are whole plant foods too, because they're going to give you more calories per bite. So they're still low enough in calories to help people lose weight. But if you're eating too many non-starchy vegetables, a lot of people are, I'm not saying maybe you're doing this or not, but a lot of people are afraid of eating starchy vegetables because they think it's the carbs that make you fat. It's like, no, these are also intact whole plant foods. And so then they're eating huge salads and just tons of non-starchy vegetables all day long. And there's just not enough calories per bite, not enough calories to, when you fill your stomach, you're filling your stomach with like 50 to 100 calories. Whereas if you fill your stomach with starchy vegetables, you're getting 400 to 500 calories because it's per pound. So potatoes, starchy vegetables are about 500 calories per pound, whereas non-starchy vegetables fall at about 100 calories a pound. So if you're eating 2,000, say you were trying to get 2,000 calories in a day, you'd have to eat 20 pounds of non-starchy vegetables a day to get enough calories. Whereas if you'd only have to eat 4 pounds of starchy vegetables to get that same 2,000 calories. So that's really important to be embracing the starchy vegetables.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to eat more. I like eating potatoes. It's something I've always, like you said, I've always avoided the carbs. But so maybe I need to eat, like, I think I had a half of a potato, a big half a potato at one meal, but maybe I need to have one at lunch and dinner. And I am eating more beans too, so
Good.
hopefully.
Double
Yeah,
up
don't be
on,
afraid of potatoes.
Okay.
double up on oatmeal. Are you eating oatmeal?
Look what I look.
I usually eat muesli. That has oatmeal in it, but muesli, maybe I should eat more oatmeal in the morning.
Yeah.
Look what I got.
so
Look what I
whole
got at
cup.
the.
Is that a potato?
Yeah, this was at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine conference. It was in
Oh,
our swag bag at the
oh,
American
nice.
College of Lifestyle Medicine conference last week in Denver, Colorado. And this is from Dr. McDougall. It's like a stress ball, but it's a potato
Cute.
from Dr. McDougall.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Monica, it's a common issue for those people who don't get some coaching initially when they are transitioning. They do find that they're not eating enough and not getting enough calories. And you have to pretty much get pretty full eating plant foods. And it's kind of different from what your thought process is. So follow what Scott just advised.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of
okay.
funny. My bowl for my salad is like basically a mixing bowl. It's huge. And
Yeah.
so it's like people laugh. Like if I would take that to work or something, people laugh. What the heck? You're gonna eat all that? It's like, you betcha I'm gonna eat all that. and then my oatmeal bowl is really big and deep, and it's a lot. But you know, some people can't eat a lot in one sitting. I can. My wife can't, and so she has to eat more meals throughout the day. Whereas I can sometimes get by with like 2 meals because I can pack away a lot more food in one sitting than she can, or other people might be able to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Arun is next, and then we'll see whose next hand is up.
Well, thank you, and good evening. I wanted to say that, when we talk about eating potatoes and such, I'm assuming that you are recommending and that we should follow like whole potato, either, in other words, with keeping the skin on. Same with if you had carrots, for example, not to peel them, or cucumbers, not to peel them, apples, not to take away the skin, things like that. Just like we would expect whole wheat and whole brown rice, same thing goes for carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes. You got to eat the skin, right?
You're absolutely correct. And I wouldn't use the word you have to eat. You would get the most benefit because
Right.
you're getting the most fiber and the most vitamins and minerals and nutrients and antioxidants. And so yes, eating the skin of those foods that you mentioned is really a healthy thing to do. Some of us, however, don't like the bitterness of the cucumber skin. And so we kind of strip that off, or we don't like the texture of the potato. So we like to kind of, cut off that. Well, it's not as healthy a way, but, you have to decide. It would be better to eat the potato without the skin than the slab of animal meat or chicken, that so many people are eating.
Yeah, and I think I make a distinction. If it is an organic product, I tend to eat the skin as well. But if it is not organic, I'm happy without having the skin.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's another potentially good strategy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Ellen.
I just want to comment on feeling hungry. I used to feel hungry. It's sort of counterintuitive to how we were raised. But when you're eating whole plant-based foods, you can eat as much as you want, whenever you want, without counting any calories or anything. I'm a grazer. I can't eat a big bowl. When I make coleslaw and salads, I do use a serving bowl too. It's kind of embarrassing, so I only do it when I'm alone. But I'm a grazer, so I start my day out kind of grazing throughout the whole day, and I never feel hunger. No matter what it is, and I every once in a while I get a huge craving for French fries, and I make my own and bake my own with no oils or no nothing, and it satisfies me. And well, you can eat a lot of French fries and not change your blood sugar in the morning if you're using a real potato. So I would, it's counterintuitive, but you can eat as much as you want or as much as you feel you need to on whole plant-based foods without the oils and the salts and the sugars and all that kind of stuff. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I looked through a few pages here because we have quite a few people in the room. And it seems like there are some other new people who may have logged on since we got started. So if there's anyone who cares to share how they found out, if you haven't already, either raised your hand or just unmuted yourself and started speaking, we'd love to hear how you found out about the classes and what you might like to gain from them. And, we won't, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes, Meg, we can hear you.
Okay. I just yo-yo around with my weight. I'm 74. I found out about your Tuesday evening class and I just retired. I need to lose weight again. I have hypothyroidism and I take my medication in the morning. So I've heard, I've read things about crucifers or broccoli, other kinds of cabbages being dampening the thyroid. And I wonder if you think that's a myth or is there something to that? Are there any things that a person with, I'm taking the medication, but take it in the morning. So I think by the evening it might be less effective. But I still think I'm going to keep taking the thyroid supplement in the morning. You have anyway, hello everyone. There's 40 people here. I'm still trying to figure out how to phone. I figured chat is. I didn't realize that I don't know how to mute my phone yet, I guess. I've been walking around the dog.
Well, welcome. You're doing fine. And welcome to the class. And in answer to your thyroid, we are one of the issues with thyroid, when someone comes and says, do I need to keep taking thyroid? I ask them about their iodine. Are you getting iodine in your diet from somewhere? You need some iodine in your life to make adequate amounts of thyroid medication. And for those people who are not getting any iodine because they're restricting their salt intake, because they're not eating any sea vegetables, and they're just not getting iodine, then potentially if they got iodine in the form of about 150, I think it's micrograms.
Micrograms, yeah, 150 micrograms.
And that's about the amount you need on average for the day. If you're not getting that, then you may want to maximize that. And then that could maybe help lower your dose of thyroid medication. So are you getting iodine from any of the things that you put in your mouth?
I'll go look at my multivitamin.
Okay.
I would think multivitamin. I'm planning to, I'll have to check and get back to you on that.
Okay.
So I just got it checked up by an Oregon Medical Group doctor. And my blood work is okay. I'm low in vitamin D, but he didn't say anything about iron.
Okay, so you're not anemic and your iron levels are okay then.
So
but iodine is something different.
Okay.
And so you want to check that out.
Excuse me. iodine is not in any kind of multiple?
It may be in a multiple vitamin, it may not be. It's in sea vegetables like dulse and wakame and nori.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
It also can be in salt, iodized salt. If you add some salt, or if you're taking no salt, then you wouldn't be getting it.
Okay, my goal right now is to stop fluctuating around in weight. And I'm on a lower salt diet. So I should look for some nori. I should add some. I'll try doing
Yeah,
that.
you could add some nori and that would add iodine to your diet.
Okay.
And
So-
it would also add omega-3s, which are really healthy.
Okay. I do take some, I've been taking these things by pill. I mean, okay.
You
So
want
there's,
to get vitamin B12 by pill.
okay.
And that would be, depending on your age, if you're under age 65, it would be 2,000 micrograms a week, once a week. Or if you're over age 65, it would be 1,000 micrograms every day is what I take.
Okay. So I am
Yeah.
74 and I'm trying to lose about 10% of my body weight.
Okay.
I think it would be, I also have a knee, I'm missing some cartilage in my knee. So I'm trying to get from being overweight to being right in the middle or lean. I'm muscular, I work out every day. But I am looking at my trying to lose weight.
Okay, if you're trying to lose weight and you want to talk to someone, we just need to get your email. Or
Okay.
Scott, how's the best way to handle this where we could hook her up either with me or with one of the medical students?
Lisa could put her email in the chat, or you could also, if you subscribe to the class newsletter on the homepage of the website, I don't know if you were here when I showed everybody the homepage of the website, you could subscribe to the newsletter, and the weekly newsletter every Sunday morning will have a link to the free health coaching sign up at the very bottom of the class email. That's there.
Is that you? That's a coach? Who's the coach?
No, it's Lisa Chick. She's actually in the room right now. She's
Okay,
a fourth year medical student.
Lisa, do you want to unmute yourself and talk?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm one of the first-year medical students. I'm
Okay.
an osteopathic medical student down at the Western U campus in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I've been working with Dr. Ross and Scott for a few years now, and I love getting to chat with anyone who's interested in some free one-on-one health coaching virtually. So
Okay.
I'll put my email address and a link to schedule appointments with me in the chat. And like Scott said, it's also in the weekly emails.
All right. I will sign up for the weekly emails, and if I can figure out on my little tiny phone how to get back to the chat, I will look. You'll post your information in the chat?
Yes.
And you're Lisa, and you're from Los Angeles area? Okay. I'm in Oregon. And so all 40 people from around everywhere, or just Oregon
They're
residents?
from around everywhere. They're from back
Interesting.
east. They're
What?
from the Midwest, mostly from Oregon, some
Yeah.
from California.
Mostly Eugene Spring. The majority are from Eugene Springfield area, but we have some people from other places.
Okay.
And then as
thank you.
far as your cruciferous vegetable question,
Right.
if you were to eat a huge like 5, 6, 10 cups a day of cruciferous vegetables, that could suppress the thyroid somewhat, but
Okay.
because it's a goitrogen, is what we call it. But as long as you're eating a wide variety of not just cruciferous vegetables, but other leafy greens and other non-starchy vegetables too, that are not just cruciferous vegetables, which are like broccoli, collards, Brussels sprouts, things like that. You're not gonna have a problem with the thyroid there.
A variety of colors and different kinds of vegetables are
Correct.
fine. Okay.
Correct.
So that myth has been dispelled for a while. Anything else for a person who's hypothyroid? What about meats? Am I supposed to be eating anything that I might not know about?
I guess the quickest thing we could tell you is do you have a smartphone?
I do.
If you download the app, free app it's called Daily Dozen. It's Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen.
Okay,
And follow that app.
okay,
You will see that there are foods that you're used to eating that are not on it. And we're
Okay.
encouraging you to eat the foods that are on it.
okay. Daily Dozen by Dr.
Wait,
Greger.
Greger, it's spelled Gregers.
Okay,
Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen.
okay, I'm not gonna worry about all the broccoli, all the winter vegetables that they
No.
really stuff in the winter very well. The cabbages, the broccoli, everything else.
Yeah, don't
Thank-
worry.
Oh, look, can everybody see me? Is there any way to get rid
We
of my?
can see you and you've got a daisy on your hat.
Oh, I did that, but I was trying
Yeah,
to,
good job.
oh, okay, I guess that's gonna be good.
You're getting technically,
How did how did people get on here without having their face be, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have it must be on the
turn
chat.
your camera off if you want.
Okay, whoa. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, I'll try to figure that one.
Okay. All right, Edward.
I wanted to ask what you guys thought about kombucha. Because I was reading a bottle of kombucha that my wife brought home, and it said like carbonized with natural sulfates, and it's like, okay, natural, is that just a buzzword or does that actually mean anything?
packaged.
Scott, I don't have an answer to that. Have
I guess
you?
you'd have to look at the ingredients list, I guess, but I'm not sure. I mean, kombucha is, you can make your own. Some people do that. I know Dr. Greger has a video about kombucha, and it's pretty rare, but it's actually, there's some cases of lactic acidosis with kombucha. So it could be toxic sometimes. So, but it's pretty rare, but I know there's a little video about it there, but
It's
I
a
don't,
fermented drink. I don't know what they ferment to get that drink.
there's different things people do that brew their own, but yeah, I'm not an expert on that for sure.
So it has some, like bacteria in there, which are supposedly healthy bacteria, which may, make your microbiome a bit more diverse. So probably a little bit of it is probably okay. But I don't know. Like Scott, we're, not big kombucha people.
If I can add to that,
Good, Arun. Go ahead, tell us what your thoughts are.
it has lots of sugar.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's
That-
another thing.
So that allows that fermentation process apparently.
Right.
And so,
But it tastes good.
yeah, it's probably not the healthiest in that respect. Tea
Right.
would probably be a healthier choice.
Yeah, it's made, it has black tea in it, but it's lots of sugar makes the fermentation. And so as much as I like it, I don't buy it.
Okay, thank you for sharing
Oh.
that with us.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, you mentioned different sea vegetables, but you don't mention kelp. Is there any reason not mentioning kelp?
One time that I don't say nothing about it.
Dr. Greger has a video on kelp where he goes over that it has so much iodine that people get too much, I believe, from kelp.
I see. Okay.
And I'm not a super big sea vegetable fan, so I take a supplement. It's actually made from kelp, so it's kelp granules, and it's 225 micrograms in a tablet. So I take it about 3 or 4 days a week. So I only need that 150 a day, so it's 225. But so I just get it online. So because I'm not a big, I avoid salt, and then I'm not a big sea vegetable fan myself. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're waiting for the next question.
Hi, I'm Pat. Oh,
Hello, Patricia.
hi. I was wondering about last week when we had that fasting.
Yes.
talk. It was very interesting. And I have rheumatoid arthritis. And he said like 18 days of fasting, but I just happened to see my doctor today. I have to see him every 6 months. And he said, I was just thinking like 3 days would be my max. And I was wondering if you thought that that would be good to do that. And he also said that he didn't think it would hurt, but he would recommend that I still take my medicine that I take. And I just wondered.
So Kevin, I believe, is here. And do you want to take that question if you heard it and answer it? I thought I saw you here anyway.
What I would say is you have to make sure, to be able to fast for anything longer than 24 hours, you need to be under, the supervision of your doctor, because there are people that have enzymatic deficiencies and different things that could make it dangerous to fast for more than 24 hours. And then even inside of 24 hours, if somebody is on diabetes medication that lowers blood sugar, or blood pressure medications that lowers blood pressure, your blood sugar could get too low, your blood pressure could get too low, even fasting for 24 hours. So you definitely, it depends on what medications you're taking and stuff, whether it's safe to even fast at all. So
it's rheumatoid medicine. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was just wondering.
If it's just those medications, those would probably be fine. But yeah, as long as your doctor knows about it, you could try it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Kim.
You're muted, Ken.
I just want to say I had that fatty liver for too long, and it turned into liver cirrhosis. And so that's actually the biggest reason I need to be on this, because since I've been on this, it's been super easy to stay at my towards the middle of my BMI. And that's kind of very important when you're fighting liver cirrhosis. But of course, we can't have any alcohol. And I was drinking some kombucha. I love anything fermented. And so I was drinking kombucha, and I asked the doctor, that can have up to 0.5% of alcohol in it, all of it. So he said, don't drink it. So I was just advised not to drink it because it has alcohol, even though it's not very much. I just wanted to add another reason why, we have to give up a lot of things, and it beats the alternative.
It does beat the alternative. Health is something that we're reaching for. Very important. Thanks for sharing that.
I had to stop drinking coffee, and that was tough. But again, yeah, it's worth the benefits of living.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, Arun.
Yes,
and then Trouty.
Thank you. I wanted to know a little bit more about intermittent fasting. Last week, I think Kevin maybe touched it a little bit, but not enough. So perhaps maybe between you and Scott, you can say some more good things about intermittent fasting, or why we should attempt that.
So intermittent fasting can refer to a lot of things. It can refer to things like time-restricted feeding, which is kind of feeding during, like, say, an 8-hour window, and then fasting for 16 hours. That's technically time-restricted feeding, but it's also kind of often grouped together with a type of intermittent fasting. But really, intermittent fasting is like, okay, I'm going to do 24 hours of fasting, 48 hours of regular eating, and then 24 hours of fasting, 48 hours of regular eating. So, or you do it once a week or twice a week, so intermittent fasting can be anything like that on a regular basis, where you kind of do that for yourself. But you know, again, as like Kevin talked about a little bit last week, is that you definitely want, if you're going to do anything more than 24 hours, it really should be supervised fasting. So you should be, you know, under the care of your doctor or but especially places like True North Health Center where they can do, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Sometimes you have to be on, you know, you have to get regular blood work and be under close monitoring. But for most people, as long as you're not on blood pressure medicine or diabetes medication, a 24-hour fast would be considered pretty safe. But again, if you are on blood pressure lowering medicines or blood sugar lowering medicines, you should really check with your doctor before you do that, because you could get into trouble, low blood sugar, low blood pressure. So, but this definitely has lots of health benefits. And those of you that missed last week's class, it was really great. I actually watched it recorded because I was at the conference last week, and it was really great. And so you can watch that in the class archives. And there's also a fasting infographic on the class handouts on the website, and it kind of defines all the different kinds of fasting, and it has the benefits and the risks and pros and cons, all that kind of stuff on there. So that's a great resource to check out too.
What about, you know, like Charlie was talking about 16-hour fasting as on a daily basis?
Yeah, so that's the time restricted feeding I just described. So you eat during an 8-hour window, and then fast for 16 hours. That's a type of time restricted feeding, which is a type of intermittent fasting. But so a lot of people do that, and that's pretty safe because you're eating every day during a window, and you want to try to do it earlier in the day rather than later in the day because of the circadian rhythm. There's a whole bunch of science on that the calories are actually worth more when you eat into the evening hours, like 8 p.m. So say you ate 100 calories at 8 a.m., they're only worth about 70 calories, whereas they're worth the whole 100 calories at 8 p.m. So that has to do with our body clock, our circadian rhythm. So it's better to do, if you're going to do an 8-hour eating window, you want to try to end it by no later than 6 p.m. So you could do like start eating at 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. and then you fast between 6 p.m. and 10 a.m. the next day. So that would just be an example of a 8-hour feeding window, 16-hour fast.
And if you were to do a 12-hour fasting, is it like 75% of 16-hour fasting, or it's not so?
12 hours would be fine too. It's just there's different, just whatever's going to fit your life better.
Okay. But I mean, you still get some benefit out of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I know most of us fast at least 8 hours while you're sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think the studies point you toward trying to do 16, but 14 is probably okay, and 12 is probably not as good, but still probably good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Jamie and then Trouty.
You're muted, Jamie.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
Okay.
Hi. So, this morning. Oh, sorry. That's bad timing.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry. So I just need to clarify one thing, and that is that I heard somebody say that when you're eating this way, you can eat anything you want, and I think that people are saying that because it's so terrifying for them when they start this. They think they're not going to get enough food. And sorry about the little dog. And so I have been working on noticing what McGregor's Daily Dozen portions are. So my question is, isn't that the optimum, is to stay to his portions?
Well, I didn't say you could eat anything you wanted. I said you could eat as much as you want of whole plant-based foods.
That's what I meant. I shouldn't have said any. I meant as much.
Yeah, because if we could eat anything we want, we would all be headed towards death really quickly.
And I would add that you just use the proportion that he's using. So if you are using a lot of energy, you may need to increase an extra portion of legumes. Well, you'd also increase an extra portion of whole grains, the extra
Okay.
portion of fruit and vegetable. If that was too much for you, and most people say Gregor's Daily Dozen is too much for me
Mhm.
to start, it takes a while. So they may cut the proportions down by one in each category. So do what works for your body. It's
Great,
just
thanks.
a guesstimate.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Trouty.
Yeah, I have a question. Does iodine reduce the calcium in the bones?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, see, the thyroid medication does.
Well, I'm not aware of that either.
My doctor
So-
tells me that, but I haven't noticed anything. I eat all the greens and all the stuff, you know, that produces more calcium in it. So I just was wondering if they're tied to their schedule, whatever they can prescribe, you know.
I haven't heard about iodine affecting the bone structure. I think Scott may be doing a search around that issue.
I was just looking at thyroid medication. If it doesn't say anything about side effects or reactions for anything with the bones as far as
So
thyroid supplements.
that just may be a old wives' tale.
Oh my word. I did not notice anything that, you know, but they did the DECA scan and they said that I have osteoporosis, but then they checked it again and they said it's not any more different. So, and I've taken the stuff, you know, so to me, I'm beginning to wonder if you're right with the old wives' tale, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you can't tell the doctor that because he's prescribing or not prescribing, you know. So
It is hard when a doctor prescribes something. They're under the impression they're not out to do you harm. And if you question why they're writing for something, it leaves
Totally.
room, makes it uncomfortable.
well,
But
for one thing, when I get not enough of it, I get depression, and also I get very low energy level. I feel like I have the flu almost, you know. So when I take more, he doesn't like it because he says, well, you lose the calcium in your bones. So I take 120 milligrams right now, every day. So anyway, I just begin to wonder if there's a stop to it, that they can't do any more, or, you know, he's so adamant about all this.
I guess we would have to talk to you more about specifically what's going on. I don't know of the association of thyroid and your bones, whether that would make a difference or not. I'll do some research. Mary Ellen.
Can I just share with you what Dr. Greger told me when I met Dr. Greger and had a one-on-one face-to-face conversation with him about the troubles I was having, that my doc was prescribing things or telling me things. And I'm thinking, I got to find another doc or this person's going to kill me. It's when my A1C was 14 and she wanted to put me on insulin. And I said, no, and hell no, I'll do it with food. And she ridiculed me. And she said, well, where will you get your protein? Which is the first stupid question everybody asks.
Yeah.
And then she said, well, for God's sakes, don't eat any fruit. And I thought I need to get out of here. And so it was shortly after that I met Dr. Greger in Roseburg, and I was talking to him about that very fact. And I said, what should I do? He said, you should find another doctor who's going to support nutrition. Words of wisdom, I did, and I found Scott and Charlie, so. And my A1C is half of that now.
Wow. That's
thank-
great. So here in a Google search, it does say that if your thyroid hormone levels stay too high for too long, you may be more likely to develop low bone density and osteoporosis. This is more likely if you're a postmenopausal woman. Research has shown a potential increased risk of breaking your hip. So apparently, if you're taking too much thyroid hormone, that it can reduce your bone density. And so you should strive when you're taking thyroid hormone for a TSH value of around 2.0. So you should know what your TSH level is. And if it's lower than 2, like down around 1 or less, then maybe you are taking too much thyroid hormone. So check
they
out
told-
what your TSH level is.
They told me one of them is almost normal and the other one is way too low.
Well, the TSH is the one you're interested in.
TSH?
TSH.
Yeah, okay, good.
All right, I'll run.
No lower than
2.0, right around there.
no lower. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Charlie, I wanted to ask Marianne this question. When she said she lowered her A1C from 14 to 7, how did you do it, Marianne? What did you not eat or what did you eat?
Well, let me just say that it's a combination of things. When I met Scott, it was pretty high and I was on a refusal to do insulin. I believe that if you are a diabetic and follow the American Diabetic Association guidelines, you're probably going to live 20 years and suffer that whole time. So I didn't really want to do that, but I did most of it, a lot of it with food, but then Scott convinced me to do some insulin to get me back into a well-controlled diabetic range faster, and that has worked. So as of yesterday, my A1C is 7.6, I think. So it's going down slowly, and the reason it's not going down faster is because I still sometimes struggle with food. When I'm doing the right thing with my food, staying plant-based and without oils and all that kind of stuff, it goes down every day, and as my blood sugars every morning go down, so does my insulin every night. So I suspect that sometime in the near future, I'll be able to have a conversation with my doc about starting to decrease some of the anti-diabetic drugs as I get a better grip on food. But without the food component, I don't think the anti-diabetic drugs would do as well. I mean, I'm a nurse by trade, 30 years. I've never seen insulin all by itself do the perfect job either. So.
Okay, and so you're basically following what Charlie says about not eating oils and meat products and things like that.
Yeah, I don't do meat. I don't do dairy. I don't do oils. Not when I'm having a good food day anyway.
Right. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Is this Adrian?
Yep. Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to say to anybody who's thinking about doing a health coaching session with Lisa that I would give her a shout out. It was I did it about a month ago, maybe. And she was a great listener. She had lots of good ideas. She was knowledgeable. It was a beautiful day. I was walking my dog and talking to her, and I just highly recommend her and appreciate the time she spent with me. And yeah, it was really good.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that.
We
I'm
talked
sure
about
that-
what?
Thank you, Adrian. I've been wondering how you've been doing, so it's good to hear that you and the dogs are well.
Thanks. Yeah, we talked about nutrition and sleep and supplements, all kinds of stuff. And it was just a very pleasant experience. And yeah, so thank you. And I wanted to say that in case anybody else was wondering, well, what would that be like? Because I sure didn't know what it would be like. And I had one more question about B12, because I thought I heard you say the recommended dose is 2,000 micrograms once a week. And this bottle says 2,500 micrograms. And I just wondered, is it more helpful or effective to take it in smaller doses daily, or doesn't it matter if you just take the bigger dose once a week?
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I
Are you
feel
under
about,
65?
well, for another month, I'm under 65. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
right
so
on the-
so you could probably, until that bottle's gone, I guess I would recommend you take maybe 3 or 4 days a week of those, even though it's a higher dose. And then when that bottle, yeah, take
Take
one
it-
3 or 4 days a week, because you don't absorb as much when you're over 65. So then once this bottle is gone, your next bottle, try to buy a 1,000 microgram pill, and then you'll want to take 1,000 micrograms once a day. Because we actually only absorb about 5 to 10% of what we actually take. And so, and when we're over age 65, we absorb it even more poorly. And that's why we should take it every day when we're over 65. When you're under 65, 2,000 micrograms once a week for the most part is fine. But just kind of remember, it's a B vitamin, so it's water soluble, so there's no toxicity. So you don't really have to. It just means you have more expensive pee if you take more than you need. The only other side effect, I would say the only other side effect with B12 is if you take injections. People that take injections, it can actually cause acne, but taking a pill doesn't seem to cause that.
So 2 or 3 times a week now of these 2,500 micrograms would be okay, and then switch over to 1,000 micrograms daily.
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mary Ellen, your hand's up. I don't know if that was just raised. Okay. And Trouty, same thing, your hand's up.
Yep, I am still
You have
asking
a
the
question? Okay.
Okay. What is A1C?
Hemoglobin A1C is a measure of maybe 3 months of your blood sugar values. So it shows the control you have over a long period of time, 3-month period of time.
Blood sugar?
Control of your diabetes.
That-
And, you can take a blood sugar on a one-time reading. It could be high, it could be low, but this is kind of gives you an average of what your blood sugars have been over a period of time, over a 3-month period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Man, the time is flying here. Marcia.
Yeah. What I don't understand, my doctor kept me on metformin, but she says I don't no longer have to check my blood sugar unless I want to. Why?
Don't do it.
Don't do
Don't
it?
check it anymore.
Okay.
Just go, as long as, as long as you're eating healthy, don't hurt yourself.
Right.
You've gained the lack of giving yourself pain by your food choices and your lifestyle choices. And you
Right.
don't have to keep testing your blood sugar.
And the reason is because the metformin does not generally cause any hypoglycemia. It doesn't tend to cause low blood sugar. So if there's other diabetes medications where they would say you need to still be checking it, but if you're just on the one metformin a day and your last A1C was 5.6, it makes sense why they said you don't have to check it anymore.
Okay. All right. Makes more sense now. All right. Thanks.
Looks like Rob, Lisa said Rob has had his hand up for a while. I don't know if you can see him, Charlie.
I don't see it at all.
Oh,
Go
there you
ahead, Rob, and then
Yeah.
Joan.
I have a question about B12 absorption. It goes down when you're older, loss of intrinsic factor, I think. Is there any benefit to holding B12 tablets under the tongue for uptake? I mean, for absorption, not uptake.
Well, I use a dissolving tablet, and some of it gets absorbed in my mouth, and some of it goes down into my stomach. So I think there's a theoretical advantage. Whether you need to do that or not, I don't know for sure. But if you want to hedge your bets, you do what Gregor recommends, and you take 1,000 a day. Either way is going to work. You can swallow it or you can let it dissolve in your mouth.
So to get the recommended daily amounts, you're kind of front loading a little bit and then discarding anything you don't need.
Correct.
And then you just keep that up and you're holding the line easily without any particular stress.
Correct. And it's very inexpensive.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, and then you just get a blood test to make sure you're getting enough and absorbing. And I haven't seen someone put in the chat. I haven't seen anything about B12 causing sleeping problems.
No, you kind of exciting dreams, maybe.
Huh. Okay, Joan.
Just wanted to share some exciting news. I sent How Not to Die book to my sister for her birthday, and she sent the book, a copy of it, to her daughter. And they both were on Facebook today declaring that's their new direction.
Wow.
And without my knowing, one of our daughters joined our class Facebook page.
Right
How
on.
great is that? Congratulations.
Pretty exciting.
That's very heartwarming. That's what we hoped would happen with these classes, that people would kind of spread the word, get benefit themselves, then spread to their families, and then their families spread it to other people. And then eventually we get a tipping point at which the majority of people in our country actually understand the importance of this, and that we then get, a change in foods in the schools for our kids, and, subsidizing fruit and vegetables and legumes and whole grains rather than meat, dairy, and eggs. I'll run.
Hi, Charlie. Let's see. I wanted to ask about nutritional yeast. I've been told, like many decades ago, that was good for you if you were a vegetarian, to eat nutritional yeast, every day. So I've been using that for a number of years in either my salads or vegetables, or on top of rice, or things like that, or even oatmeal. Is that okay? I mean, I'm still taking the B12 supplement because after I heard from you all here last year.
Yeah, so nutritional yeast is healthy, and using it, spreading it liberally throughout the day is healthy. You do probably get some vitamin B12 from it. I'm not sure it's enough. if you're doing it several times a day, it could be enough, depending on whether there's vitamin B12 and how much is in it. So I surely wouldn't discourage you from eating nutritional yeast. I had it tonight in my soup, and Christine puts it on when we have a cheeseless pizza and popcorn, and I put a nutritional yeast when I dehydrate apples or pears, along with a little spice like tahini, and it's wonderful. Makes my mouth water.
Okay. Well, I'm still taking 1 tablet of B12. I think it's 1,000 milligrams. Is that? I'm hoping it's sufficient.
How many milligram?
I think it's 1,000. I should check it again.
Yeah, if it's 1,000, it's sufficient.
Okay, but it might be 250 milligrams.
If it's 250, it's better than nothing, but it may not be sufficient according to Gregor.
Okay.
There may be some people who slip through the cracks and need more than that.
I see.
I hope you meant micrograms.
Micrograms.
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000 micrograms. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And one last question. You can make sesame salt, the Japanese way of doing that. Does that add any iodine to the salt from ground up sesame, in the salt?
I didn't quite get that. Did you, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know anything about sesame, grinding up sesame seeds. I don't think there's any iodine in sesame.
I don't think there's iodine in sesame either.
Okay. Maybe there's some other benefit, but that's a traditional Japanese recipe to add toasted sesame seeds ground up and mixing with salt and using that on whatever you put. Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes and ears open on that one.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. How about Tona next?
You were just mentioning that you were hoping that you were excited that word was getting out and you wanted it to get out more. And I just wanted to share that I work in the care management department at Riverbend. And so I talk a lot about what I'm doing and my journey and all of that. And some of my coworkers who specifically work on the oncology floor have gathered information about this class and about the newsletter that goes out, and they're planning on talking to patients more about this as a way of treatment. So trying to get you more into the hospital and getting the word out.
Well, thank you so much for doing that. We're also going to be working with the YMCA and Peace Health in a collaborative effort to kind of do community classes and spread the information that way. And so it's thrilling to hear that oncology is, potentially embracing the fact that, changing diet can really be helpful.
It's the care management, so just the discharge planners so far, not quite the doctors, but they're at least willing to, start talking to some of the patients about it and just giving them the information. So I figure that's the first step.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Marcia and then Ken.
Yeah, getting back to what Ron said about nutritional yeast, I use it on quite a lot of my food. At breakfast, I use it, and at dinner, like you said, popcorn, I use it on quite a bit. So
okay, it's good. It has a kind of a cheese-like flavor, some say, and it's healthy. Ken.
For people that are interested in this, so popcorn, spread it out a little bit after it's done and spray it with vinegar or water just a little bit. It keeps the nutritional yeast on the popcorn instead of it all going to the bottom. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, we talk a lot about iodine tonight. I guess it went in one ear and out the other. How much do we need?
150 microgram.
And then this might be interesting to some people. I know, you know, I got doctors telling me all kinds of things, but one of my doctors, they really think I need a multivitamin, and I just looked, and the multivitamin has 150 micrograms, and then over on the right it says that's 100% of the daily dose. Did you say 150 or 250?
150. Scott takes 225 or 250.
Yeah, it just happens to be my pill is like a 225 or 250, and I don't need that much, so I don't take it every day. But yeah, the recommended dietary allowance, the RDA, is 150 micrograms a day of iodine.
Ken, if you're multivitamin, if you're used to taking it and you're getting iodine like that, and you're getting enough B12, taking a multivitamin is probably not a crime. It's probably okay for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Next week, I'm going to talk about lifestyle medicine. The 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine will be next week, and then a shout out. I'll talk about it at the Eugene Plant-Based Provider meeting on Sunday we have, but we're going to have a movie social in December. So since we're done with the walks because it's no longer cold, it's all cold and dark and everything now. So in rainy season, so we'll have in December, we'll have a movie social over at the church where we had a couple of them last year. So watch the newsletter for that, as well as the Eugene Plant-Based Provider upcoming events page on the website.
So you don't have a solid date yet?
Yeah, it's going to be the 10th. Let's see here, December, let me just double check. 9th, Saturday is the 9th. So Saturday, December 9th from 2 to 5 p.m. is what I have it reserved for. So.
And which movie will you be showing?
Probably going to show What the Health. It's a little more, I haven't showed it before at the movie socials, because it's a little bit more inflammatory, a little bit more controversial. You know, it kind of accosts people and like the American Diabetes Association and American Cancer Society and stuff. So it's a little bit more of a controversial one. It was made in 2017. I've mostly showed ones that were more, you know, inspiring and stuff, as far as, you know, like I've showed the Game Changers before, I've showed the Marshall Plan, I've showed PlantWise. So I've showed a lot of other different ones, but at the previous movie socials, but I think this will be a good one because it'll kind of get people fired up about making changes. So I just rewatched it today because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think I'm going to show that. But we'll have food and everything there, so it'll be good. Lots of question and answer at the end, and lots of chatting and mingling and just community, you know, just getting together. That's what it's all about.
We love the time we spent with you tonight. We've done another hour and a half, and again, you've been hooked up with Lisa Chick, one of the medical students. If you need help, she's got her information in the chat room. And if you lost it, then you can look on the newsletter or send us an email or whatever you'd like to do. And we're looking forward to next week. And anything else you have to add?
Thank you, Scott and Charlie and Lisa.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Hope to see you guys back next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot,
Take care.
guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
All right.